Hi everyone, welcome to this session, Selenium WebDriver session 4, and we have some topics from last session, continued topic from last session. We'll be learning that. Let me just scroll down a little bit and let me find out those remaining topics that we will be learning. Guys, if you have that list, please send it on Skype group. Oops. Okay, no problem. So let's get started. In the last session, we learned how to work with the multiple elements. Driver.find elements by some locator. It is going to return you all the locators. All right. So if you have any questions, please interrupt me anytime and ask your question. Okay. If it is relevant to the current topic subject, I will definitely answer it. But if it is not relevant to a topic and if it is time consuming, maybe we can have an offline discussion on that. Thank you. See, driver.find element returns a list of web element. Guys, remember the syntax. If you are new to Selenium, if you are new to Java, then you will need to remember the syntaxes. Somebody is on. I'm getting some noise from someone. That's a Shweta. Shweta, I'm putting you on mute. Sorry. Okay. So system.set property. Okay. This is all done. Now, what is the problem with the current program? Okay, the current program is only browser automation. Okay, it's not doing testing. Okay, that's one problem. Other problem is, we are learning automation testing. So you can actually do now automation, at least a little bit automation on a WebDriver, but you won't be able to do it testing. You cannot say the test is pass or fail, that way. So let's do one thing. Let's start with the TestNG. Okay. So I'm just going to copy paste this code, creating a new project for today, giving project name as 11th August. Is it 11th August? Yeah, 11th August 2017. Selenium D4. Okay. Okay. So there I will just add a new class. Let's say, which is this test. So this is for searching. So and web pages automation practice. Let's say automation practice search. Okay. Fine, no problem. Okay, so this is my class, and I will be writing WebDriver automation and the test engine and everything here. The very first thing I need to do is go to the build property and add a path to a Selenium WebDriver. Let me do that quickly. This is something that I will be doing it every day, so that you will get used to with that. So Java build path libraries, add external jar. Okay, I have added a Selenium, so I can create a WebDriver object, right? Okay, it's a WebDriver. I can create a WebDriver interface variable now, but I don't want to use public static void main. If I do that, it will be running as a Java application, not as a test case. I wanted to add a test case. So the testing functionality, as we already discussed, testing functionality is given by TestNG. So automation is from WebDriver and testing is coming from TestNG. So I need a dependency for TestNG. Let's add the dependency. Uh, okay, before adding a dependency, uh, let's talk about TestNG. So TestNG is a testing framework. I'm not saying automation framework. It is a testing framework. Okay. So testing framework means it provides a functionalities. It provides a functionalities as write test, execute test, create suite, create you know, reports or generate report, I would say, group a test cases, add dependency, add priority to test case, add description, okay, pass data, that is parameter to test, then what, TestNG configurations, that is also one of the feature of a TestNG. So basically there are many, I will try to cover as much as I can. So TestNG is a testing framework. You can also call this as this testing framework. It falls under right, unit testing, integration testing, and the system testing also in automated way. So this developer and tester, they just use TestNG for their maybe unit testing or integration for any reason. We are using it as a testing framework. Actual automation job will be done by WebDriver, and TestNG will help us to create test case, compare the expected and actual. I forgot that assert. So comparing expected and actual, then do something related with the test cases. This is all coming from TestNG. Now next part is how to add TestNG in my project. Okay, first way is if you can download a jar file, uh, download jar and add to Eclipse build path. That is one option, but problem, that is my problem. If you download a jar file of a test engine and add into a project, you won't be able to run that project as a test. Okay, because Eclipse has to because Eclipse will not come to know that this is a test case or this is just a normal class. So there is another way. If you are using a Eclipse, there is TestNG Eclipse plugin. There is a TestNG Eclipse plugin. You need to install in TestNG. Now how to install that TestNG plugin? It is very easy. I told you a few days back, I think. Just go to help, install new software, help, install new software, and there you have to enter URL. See, install new software, and there I will be putting a URL http:// so for TestNG I haven't added this is, I think this is the URL for TestNG. Just put this URL, it will automatically check whether what is available on that URL. It will show that, and you need to tick and just say next, next, next. That way the installation is. But you need to find out what is the URL of that application where it is hosted. So this is one way. Another way that I would say it's more easier way, go to Eclipse Marketplace. Okay. Oops. Okay. Or use Eclipse Marketplace. So how to use Eclipse Marketplace? Just go here, open Eclipse Marketplace. See, it is open. It will take some time to load the list, and then just type TestNG and search. It will show you the TestNG option, and from here you can install. So in my Eclipse, TestNG plugin is already installed. I don't have to install it again. Okay. So I recommend using Eclipse Marketplace for TestNG. It is more easier. So it is already installed, so I don't get an install button. Okay. I can do update also. I think there is an update available. Update means change or uninstall. No, I don't want to do that. Alright, so that's it. This is how you install a TestNG. It takes like 10 to 15 minutes sometimes, depending on your internet speed also. But generally it takes like 10 to 15 minutes for downloading TestNG and install as a plugin to your Eclipse. Once you done that, but still we have not added the dependency. Okay, we just installed a plugin. To add a dependency, okay, go to build path, and from that build path you need to select add library, and then select TestNG. Okay, so this is the way we add TestNG to the project. So let me show you quickly. Right clicking on project, properties, Java build path, libraries, add library, and then you have to select TestNG from here. Because we install a plugin, that plugin automatically add a TestNG library inside it. So just say next and finish and okay. So here you can see TestNG is now added. All right. So now I will be writing a method. Let's say public void search. What I want to search product test. Let's say this is my test case. Okay, this is a normal method I wrote. Okay, inside a normal method I'm just copy pasting that code without main method and without all this stuff. Okay, format it. Control Shift F is the format key. Control Shift F is for formatting, but problem is there are errors in my code. So until and unless I don't resolve, it won't be formatted. So let me tell you, see, I just copy pasted a code. Is that import line added here? No. So WebDriver is not imported. The one option is you can go on that element and select import WebDriver. This is one option, okay? But I have to import it many times, so many objects, So let's go with another approach. Just say Control Shift O. I hope you guys noting this. Control Shift O, it will try to import automatically, but if it found, let's say the list class is found in two places, java.awt, java.util, which one you want? So I want java.util. awt list means the drop down list, UI component. I'm interested into that java.util.list from collection. So I just double click on one thing, and okay, we see all import happen automatically. So Control Shift O is the key for removing unnecessary imports and adding required imports. And if it found multiple matches to the same class or interface, it will ask you from where to import. I hope this is clear. If you have any questions, please let me know. Oops, what is it? Is already available in Eclipse TestNG URL. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was already available in Eclipse for that TestNG URL because I installed it some times ago. So that is the reason, But if you want to get the TestNG URL, but again, Prashant, I don't recommend that approach. As I said that, if you want to install TestNG, go with a marketplace. If you are not able to install it from marketplace, then only use this option. So what you have to do is just go to a TestNG's official website, click on Eclipse, okay, and there you see install the plugin. Okay, clicking on that install the plugin, and then you see that URL update site is Eclipse beta. This is for beta, okay. I don't recommend beta. This is the actual URL. Just copy paste that URL. You can get that URL from here. So install Eclipse plugin. Okay. Okay, there is a question from Rupa. What is dependency for? Okay, dependency. This word is something. It has a generic meaning. So one project is always depend on other project. Now, for example, the project that I created is which project? It's a WebDriver learning. No, it is Selenium Day 4 project. But this project requires a Selenium and this project requires a TestNG to run. So Selenium and TestNG, both jar files are my dependencies. Okay. And adding a dependency can be done in two ways, multiple ways actually. But I have showed you with simplest way using a Eclipse. In Maven, we will be adding it differently. Okay. If we are using a Maven, we won't be adding dependency into Java build path. Okay, hope I answered your query. All right, so let's move on to our next topic. Next topic means continue with TestNG. So this is a normal method, I created a normal method, public. It's a public method, anyone can call it. It is a void method. Void method means this method will not return anything, and this method is having all the test case code except few brackets are extra. Okay, see, Control Shift O is formatted. Initially it was like something like this. I will just say Control Shift F. Oops, Control Shift F. See, the formatting is done. Automatically adding indentation is done. So this is very important to show a good quality code. To write a good quality code, you should have a proper indentation. You must be following the right programming standards. So it is very important. You may not feel that it's really important, but trust me, it is very important because see, um, if you are going for an interview in a Selenium, you might have to write some code, or let's say you are already selected in for Selenium profile, and when you actually start working on it, based on your coding style, the coding standards that you follow, based on that, everybody judge you. They will judge you and say that you may not have much experience into coding because you are writing a code like a novice programmer who just recently started, that way. So that should not happen. So take care of this small things. These are very small things, but you should take care of that. All right, so I just added a method. Okay, let's run it. If I say right click run as, am I getting any option? Run on server, forget this. If I click on it, it will not come again. Am I getting any option here? It is just a run configuration. I'm not able to run this method. How to run this method? If I write a main method, that is my entry point. So Java knows that, okay, let's execute main method. But in this class, there is no main method. I don't want to use a main method from now onwards. I will be creating a test cases. So This method is not a normal method. I wanted to say that this is a test case. This is a TestNG's test case. It is not a normal method. So what I will do is I will add @test annotation, control space, as I said, control space. Because of control space, every time when I say control space, that time this menu will be displayed. Okay, so make habit of using control space. Am I using TestNG from JUnit? No. Am I using TestNG from org.testng annotations? Yes. So this is what you need to import. So I'm just double clicking on it. All right, import is done. See, this is the import line. Import is done. Now right click on the test and see run as. What option you get? You get an option TestNG test. Okay, I'm just clicking on that option. Let's wait for some time to get that test case executed. It is just searching summer and checking whether the product count is 4. Search result. Okay, the test case is executed. At the end, what you see on console? You see a console something run, failure and skip, because we executed this as a TestNG. Okay, I'm checking WhatsApp. Ishka. Please check your system speaker. I'm not able to hear. Guys, you are able to hear me, right? Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you for confirming. So it might be your internet issue, guys. So that's the reason I keep some backup internet as well. If my broadband just fails, I will switch it over to other. All right. So let's go back to the program. Now what we'll learn how to write a test case. That means how to create a test case. Add @test. If you add @test annotation to a method, that will become a test case. Now next part is how to execute it. There are plenty option. One option is you can right click here, run as TestNG. This is one option, or you can just select that class which you want to run. If I am selecting a class and if it is having multiple test cases, let's say I'm writing another test2. Okay, let me write more test case in that same class, test public void test3. And now what I want is I want only this test to run. Okay, so just select that method, right click, run as TestNG test. So it will be only running that one particular method. Can you see that run is one? But if you right click on anywhere else in the screen in that class and run as TestNG test, it will run all these three methods. Okay. Same time, you have a panel result for running the API test. You can actually wait for some time in the all test, and the result should be shown here. Okay, search is done. See, let's move on to here. Okay, result. Now what is the result? All three test cases passed. The first test case executed was search product test, then test2, then test3. Okay, so if you right click anywhere on a class and say run as TestNG test, it will be running all the test cases from the same class. Okay, now next part is the another way to run your complete class is just right click on a class, run as TestNG test. But in that case, you need to right click on a class. It is very much similar like you are right clicking on anywhere. Okay. So I see the 3 test cases executed. Can anyone tell me in which order this test case will execute? Any guesses? I'm okay with any random guesses. In which order this test case will be executed? Sorry, which? Okay. Okay. Let's say, okay, someone said that, the way we are writing the test cases, in that order we are writing test case. Now see, what I did is I moved this test case number 3. Yep, yep, absolutely right. It is alphabetical order. Mano, it is not a random order, or uh, somebody said that. All right, okay, no problem. So if I move the TestNG test 3 first, it doesn't mean that TestNG 3 will execute first. Okay, it actually, TestNG actually sorts all the test cases from same class, and based on the sorting, alphabetical ordering, it executes a class test method. So this is the first method which will get executed. All right. uh, all right, okay, let me check if you have any questions. Why we use test annotation, not other option? Because there is no any other option for declaring a this method is a test case. You have to use test annotation only. Okay, there is no any other option to specify the below method is not a normal method, it is a test case. So we just write at the test to above that method, so the below method becomes automatically a test case. I hope I answered your query, Savita. Any other questions, guys, so far? Guys, I can see only few people are replying on a group. Same names I'm seeing again and again, like Savita, Prashant, Amit, Jain, Prashant, Manav. You know. So be interactive. I don't want this session to be only from one side. I want to have discussions and interactions, and I cannot see your faces. So it is very hard to check. Whether you are able to understand it, or you are out of a context. So okay, I think we have a question. Is it like declaring variable in a program? Not exactly, Swapna. It is like mentioning, it is like labeling. If I remove this at the rate test, this becomes a normal function. It is a normal method. I cannot select and right click run as TestNG test. I cannot do that. See, it says 000 because TestNG don't understand what is this method is. If you write at the rate test, that means you are specifying compiler on TestNG saying that the below method is not a normal method, it is a test case. Now in my case, now see, I just added test and let's say run TestNG test2. It will run quickly because there is no any code here. So as you can see, a test case is run and failure is 0, skip is 0. So if you don't have any code in your method, by default it will be treating the test case as pass. By default it will be treating the test case as a pass. So if you want to intentionally fail a test case, let's say I want to fail a test case, so just say assert control space. I'm again repeating this line control space because you cannot see what I'm doing here. So assert org.testng. I don't want assert from JUnit. Guys, see, these are complementary tools. Either you can go with the TestNG or you can go with the JUnit. Okay, so basic things are very common in TestNG and JUnit. You can easily switch from TestNG to JUnit or JUnit to TestNG, but the advanced feature are different in both the tools. TestNG gives more better features, so that is the reason automation testers or functional regression testers SDETs are mostly going with TestNG, not with a JUnit. So JUnit had many limitations. That is the reason TestNG was developed by Cedric. His name is Cedric. Okay. So I'm importing assert from TestNG dot just call fail assert.fail. That means this test case is going to be fail. So the fail, let me tell you how it will fail the test case. See, can you see that one test case ran and one test case got fail? What is the failure message? The failure message is null. No message is there, null. It is just null. So if you want to fail a test case with some message, in that fail method, pass something, some message. Let's say I am failing test because, or something, just a random text, you can give. So right click, run as TestNG test. So you can see that message here. Also, you can go to the results of TestNG test. There you see that test is marked as a red, and to the right hand side you see a failure message. Alright, it will also tell you that which line number it got failed. So if you double click here, you will automatically switch to that line. But see, this is not our code, this is not our code, this is TestNG's code. So click on our code only, double click. See, on this line it is getting failed. Alright, so the one thing we learned is about failing it, how to fail a test case. Executing a test case is done. There are many ways. Right now I just showed you, right click, run as TestNG test. Okay, you can select particular method. You can select a particular method if you want to run that one method only, or if you just right click anywhere, it will run all the method from that class. Now creating a suite, in TestNG, the suite is basically an XML file. Okay, I will cover that later. Generating reports I will show you now. Okay, generate reports. So TestNG by default generates a report. That report, see, right now I just executed test case for test 2, and what I will do is I will run all test cases. Right click, right, TestNG test. Okay, the result is here. 3 test cases executed. From that 3 test case, 1 got fail. That means 2 pass, 1 fail. So in TestNG result, you see that this is pass, this is fail, this is pass. So for pass there is no failure exception, but for fail there is a failure exception. Now let's go and check. Right click on the project. Can you see a test output folder here? No, because you need to refresh your project. Say refresh, and then you will get to see that test output folder. Inside a test output folder, there are so many files. Okay, what I will do is I will open the test output folder, show in System Explorer. Yeah, System Explorer. System Explorer means like a normal folder window, that way. You don't have to go or C drive user, Vikas, O2, and that way. So test output folder is here. In the test output folder, I'm interested into index.html. Index, this is the home screen. So in index.html, to the left hand side, I see a summary. The 3 methods were there, 1 failed and 2 passed. Okay, the failed method is test2 and passed method is show. I'm just clicking on show. See, these are the passed method. I can hide also, because you see the test case is getting passed. That means we don't have to look into the details, right? If the test case is getting failed, then only I have to look into details. So this is the detail about that test case name, the failure message, and the complete stack trace from where this failure is happening. So in that code, just find out our class. This is like org testng class, this is sun class, this is sun. See, this is our class. On the test method is 2. It will also tell me on which line number it is getting failed. That line number is 47. Okay, let's we have some questions on Skype. That means for declare the test case we use at the test. Yes, absolutely right, Savita. Priyanka, why we have used assert keyword? We used assert keyword. Assert keyword help. It's not an assert keyword. Okay, first thing, assert is the class. It's a class coming from TestNG, and there are some static method available in that class that will help us to decide whether the test is pass or whether it is fail. That is the reason we use assert keyword. I hope I cleared your answer. This is similar to log4j, correct? Because no, this is not similar to log4j. Log4j is something that will be logging to console or maybe some file. So whatever you see here is so this is something which is like a logging, but I haven't logged anything yet. Log4j is different. If you want to maintain all the logs, keep it somewhere, and in future if you are analyzing that log, then we use a log4j. Okay. Next, is there any other for reporting which are pass fail? Is there any option for reporting which are pass fail test case? Option or other? Prashant, I didn't get your question. Means in TestNG it is showing in a graph. No, TestNG don't show report in a graph. TestNG's report is the very basic report. See, I have showed you the report, right? It is here. Is it having any graph? No. If I click on 0 times, how much time this test case took. This test case took 19 milliseconds, 19,000 milliseconds. That is 19 seconds for execution. This test case took only 7 milliseconds, and this is only 2 milliseconds because there is no any code. The reporter output is something that is very much similar like a log4j, somebody said, but this is reporter output. Right now it is blank because we haven't added anything. If you want to add a logging mechanism to your test case, okay, this is very important. If you want to add a logging mechanism to your test case, you can actually write it here. So I'm saying there is a class coming from TestNG, reporter. Can you see that reporter? It is coming from OR. That C stands for class, I stands for interface. Okay, so reporter, oh, it is coming from org TestNG. Okay, so just double click it here. Dot log. Now this is very much similar like a log4j. Somebody asked me that question, right? So reporter.log, this is similar like a TestNG test case. So starting test case, which test case? The name of test case is search product test. Okay, this is one. Now launching browser, let's say I want to log some more details, like the way we do in logging. So launching browser, but the problem with this login is this message will not be printed on a console. Launching browser. Okay, then opening URL. Opening URL. Next is searching for that element. You don't have to write a searching for element, typing summer, you can see that. Typing summer in search box. Okay, submitting form is I'm not interested. And then elements found, how many elements found, this is getting printed on a console. I will same way print it on reporter. Okay, so reporter.log is the method. There are many options, guys, to this reporter.log. You can also say that log to standard out. I wanted to print this log on the console also, then you need to give that true here. By default value is false. Then you can also mention a log label, that from which label is it, debug, is it info, is it warning, is it error. So these are different log labels available. You can also specify that log label. label dot info. From where this label is coming, let me check. This is coming from java.util.logging label. Okay, info. So the log label is info, and I want to print this on a console. Okay, so I will just add it to all my reporter.log. See, you can pass one parameter or you can pass multiple parameter. This is possible because of method overloading. For those who know the oops concept, they will understand it. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. The log int boolean label boolean. Oops, I need to specify. This label is not going to help me. I should find out the log label from TestNG. Okay, for different log labels, TestNG purpose debug enable runtime debug and TestNG.xml log label options. Because that reporter should contain it, but it is not there. They must have defined it somewhere. Oops, it is not there. Okay, if you need to find it out from where which class or which interface or enum I will have to use it here, because that label which is coming from Java is not helping me. It has some numbers, you know, it requires some numbers, maybe one. I don't know what is the meaning of one, but if I pass, I will check, you know, is it info or what. All right, so the second element is this, first element is this. I will only print that one element text. Okay, in reporter.log, I will be using the simplest form, and here I will say text found on page. Perfect. Okay, then closing browser also you can add a log. And quitting Selenium session. So I just added a logging mechanism. Run this test case again. For test 2 and test 3, I haven't added any log. Okay, there is a question on group. Log label means priority number. No, it is not priority number. Yes, the answer for why we added Assert.fail, and Assert.fail is actually failing the test case intentionally. Let's say you want to fail that test case intentionally, you will add Assert.fail method. Yes, forcefully test fail, right, Abhishek? Why is it saying show me test cases? It is not showing show me test cases, Shruti. I didn't see that. It is only having 3 test cases out of 3. I am failing test case number 2 intentionally, just for, you know, showcasing that how test case fails that way. Okay, now open that report. I'm going back to the same folder, TestNG reporter. Open that index.html. Okay, this is my test case fail. 3, there is total 3. 1 test case failed and 2 passed. It is not so many test case count, right? And let's go to reporter output. The problem with reporter output, it shows complete report on one line, you know. That is the issue with the TestNG. So if I inspect, you will see that it is there in a line by line, but due to that span, it is showed something like that. See, the first is searching test case. You know, I'm showing you in the both ways. We are automation testers, right? We work on HTML. So searching, starting test case, this, launching browser, opening URL, Then next is typing summer in search box. How many elements found? It is 2. Then what is the text found? The text found is, I wrote a text, sorry. On page is showing 1 of 4 items, closing browser and quitting the Selenium session. So this log is completely printed because of reporter. Okay, let me check the questions that you have. Log level means priority. Test case got failed. Why test 2 got failed? It is right way to use assert.fail. Yeah, sometimes we may need to write assert.fail. In some occasional cases, let's say you got some number, you are expecting that number should be greater than 10, but it is less than 10. So you may have if condition based on some condition, and you can just if this condition met, then okay, not else fail the test case. That way you can have a logic. It depends, right? To forcefully fail the test case, yes, which is right. Next is log label means priority number. No, it is not a priority number. Log labels are, one label is info, one label is debug, one label is error, one label is warning. So if I say debug log label, that means so much log will be printed. If I say debug, okay, so much log will be printed. For example, if I say info, so the debug information will not be printed, but error, warning and info will be printed. If I say error, that information message will not be printed, it will only print errors. Okay, that way. So this message, is it a warning or is it a information? For specifying that, we use these options. So in my case, for example, this is a line reporter.log. Okay, now tell me, this log, whatever the message that I'm writing, I want to write this as an error or as a information message or as a debug message. Debug message is for the developer, not for the end user. So information message may be for end user, but debug message is for the developers, for debugging the application, trying to understand what is happening, which flow is going on, what was the value at that time, that way. So that this is what we specify. So by one, I don't know actually what is the value of one. I am assuming it is info, so it is going to record that as a information message. Let me see what it is showing. Okay, it is showing nothing here because TestNG report is not that great. Okay, let me check any other question. I hope I answered your query, Smita. Reporter log is not clear what it does basically. Somebody is on unmute. It is Sunil. Sunil, I'm muting you, okay? Okay. Next question is reporter log is not clear what it does basically. See, every application has a logging mechanism, right? I'm doing this, I'm doing there, this is the value, some logging mechanism. Logging mechanism can be used for anything. So reporter.log is doing that way. If you want to add some information into your report, or you just want to write that log somewhere in some text file, you can go with the reporter log. If the expected result is fail, then use assert.fail. If expected result is pass, then use assert.pass. Correct? Um, there is no assert.passed. First thing, there is only assert.fail. By default, if you don't write anything, that means the test case is going to pass, right? If you want to fail test case, then only assert.fail. Prashant, why we use one? I'm not sure, Prashant. I haven't really used this reporter.log. I use some different reporting. I have customized reporting, but the simplest way to use is the test reporting. I need to find out the different log labels in TestNG. Okay, let's do that. Because I feel that is important. Mhm. But here also we, it is just killing our time. That is the reason I just skipped that part. But log, there are log level, and every level has a number. So like info may have number 1, uh, debug will have number 2, error will have number 3, something like that numbers. Okay, that is the reason we use a number. I'm not sure one is really info or is it error, I don't know. Next question please. Assert dot, oh, there are so many questions. Okay. Assert fail may be used for negative testing. Abhishek, don't consider it, for negative, positive. Only just one thing. If you want to fail test case, just call assert.fail. Don't think much about it, Don't think is it negative case, is it, if it pass, then do this and that. Don't worry about. Just remember one line. If you write assert.fail, it will fail the test case. So in future, whenever you want to fail a test case, just write assert.fail. If you want to fail, the test. Next is reported log is not clear. What? Okay, that I already answered. Reported log is not clear. How many times I'm reading this question? Same question. Public static void log string as the int label. So we need to specify int label parameter. That is the reason I'm giving an integer number. Every integer stands for something. Every integer has some meaning. It may be info, it may be error, it may be debug, or that way. I actually googled for finding out the predefined labels and that number, associated number, but I didn't get. Why we want to forcefully fail the test case and use assert.fail? Savita, sometimes you need to fail a test case. Base, let's say I'm looking for a file, the file is not existing, then will you be still, oh, somebody unmuted themselves and I'm hearing lots of noise. Okay, so sometimes, let's take example. I wanted to read a file. I will go into that file, I will try to read that file, but the problem is that file is not existing, and then it will throw no file not found exception. So if you catch that exception, then obviously, right, you need to fail a test case, because if the file is not present, how will you continue with your test execution? Okay. So label is for verbosity. Yes, Vijay, it is right. It is for verbosity. That means how much information you wanted to display. But here, when you write, yes, it is verbosity, but I'm just trying to find out the log numbers, It is not here. That standard, every there is a standard basically. 1 stands for info, 2 stands for this, 3 stands for this, 4 stands for this. I'm trying to map, find out that info. If you get that, please share with the group. Thanks Vijay for this link. This is a Java doc, so sometimes you have to refer a Java doc. All right, so I will just is there any other questions, guys? Have I made it myself clear, or you still have a doubt?
When we use Assert.true.
Yes, we use Assert.true. I will be going to that shortly. I will cover that shortly. Any other questions? No? Okay. I hope I answered all your queries, and let's move on. So, this is like Assert.fail. I wanted to feel that, let's say, the current time is greater than, if current time is greater than, some date, that way. And then I don't want to run this test case, something like that. I want to run this test case only if the time is after 4 p.m. or something. So in that case, I will require if some condition and fail the test case, that way. That is the reason we need assert.fail. All right, so that's a one option, but very rarely we use assert.fail is used very rarely. Nobody uses that. There are other better alternatives. All right, so this is done. Okay, now what I want is, I haven't verified actual and expected. Have I? No, right? I wanted to verify that actual value and expected value also. So this is my expected value. This both the element, that first element and second element should have showing one of four item. This should be matching. Okay, I just printed it here. Now I will be using assert. Okay, assert is something that helps you to compare expected and actual value and decide whether to pass a test case or not. Okay, this is simple meaning. So assert decides whether to test pass or fail. So I'm using assert. It's a class, and on that class I'm calling a method. Can anyone tell me how can we call a method on a class name? How it is possible to call a method on a class name? This is related with oops. Okay, I'm calling. Very good answer. Okay, but I did one mistake. I imported assert from JUnit. I have to import assert from TestNG only. Okay, I think I deleted that also. Okay. So assert control space imported from TestNG, not from JUnit. Dot. There are some methods. Assert. See, there are three important methods. I will just write in Notepad. There are three important methods. First method is assert dot assert equals. There use pass actual, expected. If the actual and expected both are not equal, if both not, then fail test. This is the simple meaning. Okay, assert equals, that means I'm expecting both should be equal. I'm expecting what? Equal. There is another method that we already learned, assert.fail. If you want to fail a test case, to intentionally fail a test case or to forcefully fail a test. This is like forceful option. Next is Assert.assertTrue. Okay, there we write condition. Okay, so if condition is false, then fail the test. So what I am expecting, I am expecting that condition should evaluate to true. So condition has two outcome, whether true or a false. So I am giving some condition. For example, that condition may be like A is greater than B. If A is greater than B, then it is okay. But this condition is false. In case, let's say this condition is false, then automatically my test case will be fail. So condition, that was the example. Another method that we use is assert not and small. Method name should always starts with a lowercase character. That's a programming standard. So I can give some object here. Let's say obj. If object is null, then fail test case. So these are four important methods that we use. Assert equal, assert false, fail is not that much important. There are three important methods. This is we already covered. Assert equal, assert true, assert not equal. Sorry, not null. My bad. Yeah, Vijay, static method. Okay. So next part is there are again three opposite method available for each method. This method says what? Assert equal. That means both values should be equal. Okay, but there is another assert which is opposite to this, which says assert not equal. That means both the values should not be equal. All right. So my bad, I just wrote the same line again. So there you have to specify actual expected value. So now if both equal, then fail test. Now you got the difference, right? Both are exactly opposite. Here I am expecting, what is my expected value? Equal. What is my expected value? Not equal. So the same way I have another assert. What is the opposite assert of this?
It should be equals, right? Assert not equals.
Yeah, my bad. Just a second. Equals. Yeah, I think I wrote it correctly. Maybe a typo. Oops. Mm, equals. I think I wrote it correctly. Okay. So there is another opposite method for assert true, that is assert false. And now the expected value is that assert that condition should be false. Condition should be false. If it is true, then fail test. You got the point, right? The condition must be false. If it is true, then fail the test case. Then next is assert null. Assert null says that object should be null. Else fail. Okay. So these are the different assertions we use. So as we discussed, TestNG also helps me to pass, not pass actually, assert. That means, pass or fail test case. This is the feature that we just now covered. Okay. Let's go back. See, I want expected value. Actual value is this value. This is my actual value, right? And what I'm expecting this value. All right. This is, I have added assertion on the first. Let's add assertion on the second element also. That means index number 1. Both the element, there is where is it? Yeah. After searching somewhere, you see that, right? Showing 1-4 of 4 item, and here also showing 1-4 of 4 items. So I'm comparing both the values. Both should be same. And let's say I wanted to have another assertion saying that the size, how many elements found, it must be 2, right? There should be 2 places the product count should be displayed, right? So I'm writing another assert. In this case I will use true because I am adding assertion based on a condition. So assert true, what I want is that count should be, the count I will get it by all elements dot size. That count must be equal to how much? It should be 2. If the count is not equal to 2, then obviously my test case will fail. It will not give you anything for this. Guys, now answer my query. If this fails, will it continue test execution? Will it continue test execution? Very good. It will not. It will stop the test case execution at this point only, and the remaining lines will be skipped. Okay. So somebody asked me, sorry. Yeah, for assert. I'm talking about assert. Assertion will decide whether your test case to pass or fail. So if this condition is pass, then it will execute the next lines. let's say this line you are getting an error and the test case is getting fail, then it will stop the current execution here only. It will mark the test case as a fail, and TestNG will skip the remaining lines of code. That means this much. So tell me, if my test case is getting fail, my browser will be closed or not? Will it be? My browser will be closed or not? No, obviously no, right? Because assertion is fail, so it will skip all the next lines. Okay, so maybe in next session we will learn how to do that also. Even though if the test case fails, still I want that browser to be closed. We will do that in next session.
It will run the next test case, right?
Yes, it will run the next test case. Yep, absolutely right. It will fail this current test case and it will execute the next test case. Let me reproduce a scenario. I'm expecting that count should be let's say 3 or only 1. Let's say this is wrong value. I know I want that uh, test case to fail, so I added all elements dot size equal 1. So let's run this. Okay, see, is browser is closed? No, go back and see the test case got failed. There is one failure. See, search product test is fail. And what is the fail? Expected was true. That condition was expected to be true but found false. Okay, this is the failure message. Is it self-explanatory? Yes or no? Is this message is self-explanatory? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
how many people are saying yes? Let me check on Skype. Okay, but I don't feel that message is self-explanatory. When I say, let's say I don't know anything, I'm like a manual tester or I'm just like a product owner and I'm going through the report, and I saw some test cases got fail, and what I failure message is expected is true and actual found is false. Arey, but what was expected? I mean, is it talking about which value? you know so it doesn't clear what exactly is the expected and what exactly is the actual. So just by saying true and false, it is not going to help you. So what there is another option, to that assert true, add just one more parameter, just give a comma and add a failure message. So I will add a failure message that uh, search result uh, elements expected where was 1 but actually found how much. Actually found is all elements dot size. So just copy that. Okay, all elements dot size. So guys, the best option for this kind of assertion is the assert.equal, but I wanted to show you, demonstrate how to use assert.true. So you can write some condition here. I can do the same task if it is equal, no, I can do it with the same task with the assert equal, right? But let's say you wanted to check whether that size is greater than 0 or something like that, assert.equal will not help you, only assert.true can help you. But I wanted to demonstrate this. So search result elements count expected 1 but actually found is this much. So let me run this test case and see the result now. Yeah, from user perspective it is not clear right now. So always write the messages from the user's perspective, don't just write something for only you. The report is always meant for the non-technical people who don't know anything about technology or automation or maybe product, and that way you might have just a little bit idea about a product or application that you have. Okay, let's go back and see what is the failure message. Okay, See, now what is the failure message? The failure message is search result element expected 1 but actually found 2, and that expected true found false is appended at the end. Okay, that this is coming from TestNG part. You cannot skip that last part, but what you can do is you can show a separator plus and then just write comma or a semicolon, so that will be added after semicolon. That's fine, but you cannot skip that. Now the same thing goes with assert equal. Every assert will have a last parameter as a failure message, uh, uh, expected or search result text field. I'm just writing search result element 1 text field. Element 1 is that first one at the top and element 2 is at the bottom, so this is the failure message. I will not write expected and actual here, because if something goes wrong here, let's say I'm saying this is 3. Okay, let's pass this assert so that it will continue the further. I'm just saying greater than 0, or I will just say equal 2 only, because it is exactly 2. Alright, so see, this test case will fail because I said 1 2 3 is my expected value. Let's run this. I'm not writing what is expected and actual, because expected value, actual value is this and expected value is this, automatically getting appended. Have you seen that? In the previous example, expected true, expect and actual found is false, that was appended at the end. Okay guys, we just have a 3 minutes left, so we'll quickly wrap up. uh, Guys, I had to conduct so many topics, but I'm not able to, because these topics are I mean, it is like that only. I actually teach Selenium like 150 hours, 170 hours in a classroom session. So we will have to speed up things. All right, so showing one of 4 item, let's go to the actual test failure message. See, the failure message is search result element 1 failed. This is what I have added, search element result 1 text failed, and this is added by Selenium itself. Expected is this, actual is this. This is added by Selenium, not Selenium, my bad, added by TestNG. Assert is coming from TestNG, not from Selenium. So this is added by TestNG. So showing 1 of 3 of 1 dash 3, but actually found is 1 dash 4. So this is added. That is the reason I haven't added. But in case of assert true or assert false, it will say that expected true and actual is false. That way, I don't want that message. That is the reason I added actually found is this, but was expected was 2. That way, I hope this is clear. Assertion is clear. Any questions, guys? Okay, let's wrap it now. You have any questions? I can answer it within next 2-3 minutes. Yeah.
Is it really required that we remember all the assertion methods? Because see, the method where we can specify the condition can simulate all the assertion methods, right?
That means assert fail you are talking about.
No. I'm talking about. Will you please show that all the assert method that you have written?
Sure. Okay.
Okay. See, the third one, assert true, in bracket condition.
Okay.
With this assert method, we can simulate all the other, right?
No, you cannot. See. Listen. My expected. Assume that the scenario is test. Their minimum age should be 18. Now you tell me, if I'm not using assert true or assert false, how can you use assert equal? Can you use assert equal in this case?
No. I'm talking about instead of writing assert equal, assert not null, assert false, not equal, we can simulate all these methods using assert true.
No, you cannot.
Where we
Tell
can
me.
simulate the condition, right?
Yeah. You are right, actually. Partially, you are right. Let's say, for example, I wanted to compare two string. Let's say name one and name two. You can actually simulate using assert trues, assert.
Yeah, I mean all these methods we can simulate using Assert.
Yeah. Actually, right. You are right. But thing is, see, you can use. You have many options. This is only for user friendliness. For the developer. Listen. Please listen. There are many options which is given by TestNG. You can do this way, you can do that way. But the best approach, let's say if I'm writing a code Assert.assertEqual, it becomes very easy, to understand what is it is doing. It becomes very easy instead of just putting all the burden on one method. So there are not so much method. There are only three important method: assert equal, assert not true, assert true, and assert not null. So every method is having opposite method. So it is not very hard to remember all this method. Once you do practice, it becomes very easy. It is just because of simplicity they have separated this method. Though you can use, actually you can stick with assert true, but it is not recommended at all. Okay. Hope I answered your query. Thank you very much. If you have any other questions, please post it on Skype group. I will try to answer after this session. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Keep on practicing. Please add assertions to your test cases. You decide what assertions you want, whether the registration is successful message is displayed, or after login my account is displayed, or menu is displayed, or sign off button should be displayed after login, or after doing a registration go and log in and check whether login is happening or not. So please go through this kind of scenario, right? Like one scenario I mentioned is like, the minimum age of the person should be 18. So you decide different scenarios on that same application which you are automating, and apply assertions at the proper place. Thank you very much for attending this session. Have a great day ahead.